PowerTech fans, we're headed to the Coaches Site Live. Join us June 12th to 14th in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan for the premier coaching event of the year. Coaches, if you're serious about getting better, TCS Live is your one-stop shop. You'll be surrounded by some of the sharpest minds in hockey from the NHL, NCAA, CHL, and international levels, all sharing real actionable coaching strategies in a way that's actually engaging. I got a small taste of this year at their St. Andrews College event, and it was unreal. The presenters were top-notch, and the coaches were all super dialed in and hungry to learn. But this is going to be a 10x experience. Beyond the elite presentations, you'll have two massive networking socials, a prime opportunity to connect, share ideas, and build relationships that can elevate your career and coaching skill set. And for PowerTech, we'll be there too. We'll be hanging out, connecting with coaches, and recording some live podcasts. So if you're a listener, you can come up and say hi and we can talk hockey. Don't miss this opportunity. Head to thecoachessitelive.com right now and use code PowerTech to save 10% on your ticket. We're super fired up to be involved with this event, and we'll see you guys there. Dalton gets a laugh out of. Would you say Andy's one of the top 3 to 5 funniest people that you know? For sure.
Seriously,
I think so. I
got my moments. I don't mean to be.
So people.
Would you say I think I try to be funny, or I'm just funny?
I think you're just funny. I mean, you also you do try to be funny.
Well, when I try to be funny, it's hilarious.
So what's funny, we do this thing. People that listen to the podcast for a long time, what's up, Bobo? They would know that you started this thing where we try to scare people all the time. So back in the day with Greeny, it was the best because you got him every time.
Every day.
And
he's an idiot.
I know, which is hilarious. So you'd catch him every time.
He'd walk around a corner, I'd jump out, and he'd shit his pants.
Yeah.
Because I'd yell. Would you think if I did that to you 3 times in one day, maybe you start going, okay, maybe, right?
Yeah,
but
maybe I should
after
check
a week every day, and then a month, you think like the guy would walk around with a M16 and shoot
right.
me. But he'd come every time I'd hide in places, and I'd put a tire in the middle of the gym covered with something. Honest to God. And he'd walk by and I'd open it up. And he'd go, holy sh! I didn't know you'd be. So where'd you come from? I'm like, in the tire in the middle. But anyways, idiot.
And it got to the point where he'd like come to a doorway, and we used to always wear slides. So he would like flip one of his slides through the door first just to see if somebody would jump out. So anyways, my point of bringing that up is we're walking back from the gym this morning, and 3 of the girls at the academy got us real good because they camped out like on the other side of the gym waiting for us.
It was good,
which is hilarious. One of the Andyisms that everyone knows and loves. So Dalton loves it too. It's
nonstop.
What's that?
It's nonstop. My wife, honestly, she sits in because she was. We were in the car together the other day with Charlie because Charlie got home the other day, and him and I never stop. Right?
True.
He's another one. He's been home for maybe
48
hours, and she's like, you guys, like, you're idiots.
True.
It's the best.
It's funny though.
Well, we like it.
Charlie's another one. He's got a good sense on him. So we went to, I don't know, like maybe the best showcase of all time over the weekend. The Leo Boivin showcase.
Old school hockey player.
Dude, in Prescott, Ontario, it was unreal. So the super small town. So anyone who doesn't know Prescott, it's like, I think 50 minutes south of Brockville towards the Ottawa area. So we had one of our earlier showcases canceled. So Jake actually reached out to the tournament, just emailing to see if they had space for us to come in. And the guy ended up having room. So that replaced one of our showcase weekends. And man, it was like small town hockey. The community was right behind it. Super well organized. I think it was their 51st year doing the tournament this year.
Long, eh?
Yeah. And so they had like all these tradition things that they do at the showcase. In the final game, they had like this little show during the flood, like they would do at a whatever junior game, or like a halftime show kind of thing, which was cool. So there was so many different elements of it that were awesome. And the reason that this is the best showcase I've ever been to, like, for sure. And it wasn't because the hockey was exceptional. It was just because it was such a fun atmosphere to be in. And it was in my mind, it was like this is why people love hockey. Like this whole weekend was a perfect example of why hockey's the best. There's just people enjoying playing. They didn't even know any of the players because it's not a huge it's a minor hockey tournament. It's not a OHL tournament or a junior tournament or whatever. So the kids that are there, like the community kids that are around, are like asking kids to sign stuff and whatever. And these are kids that'll never go on to be hockey players, you know. But it was awesome just to have that that feel and that involvement from the community behind it. So they had this thing called the row. So up top behind one of the nets where it's like standing room. It's a bunch of I don't even know what age they were, but they look like college age. And they have a liquor license there, so
they get there to get they go there get all banged up.
Oh yeah, so they can if they just it's just a riot. So they're yelling stuff. They have the chants going, and they have like branded. So the hat that I'm wearing, I got a pin from the row here somewhere, and these were the hats for the year.
Cool. Pink.
So pink.
Why pink?
I think they change the colors every year, and this year just happened to be pink. I mean, I could be wrong. I know nothing about it just from going there for the first time, right? So I'm sure there's way more detail to it that would be cool to know about. But so in the finals, our U17 team ended up winning the tournament. We played the Ottawa Junior 67s in the finals, and all our guys taped these to their helmets. Like they put them over their helmets and wore them
to get the row going
for warm-ups.
Yeah.
To get the row going. Yeah, right. So they had a bunch of different awards for the tournament as well. So one of them was like I think they called it the Critics Award or something like that. And I think it's the row that votes for which team they like the best. And so our guys won that, like our U17 team won that because they were just getting the people going and like totally bought into the community feel of it. But what was cool is for our guys, like so we had both our teams there, the U18 and the U17 teams, and both of them. For both teams, they were the perfect amount of involved with the crowd and bought into the
atmosphere of
the tournament without being idiots, because it could real easy go like too far where it's like now people aren't going to take you seriously as a hockey team. And that was what I loved about it. So like our guys perfectly played into it, where they found that perfect balance of getting the crowd going, getting the people going, but not going so far that it was like you guys are idiots. So it was awesome. So if anyone around for next year, like if you want an experience, it was awesome. It was so fun. And so actually, so Mac coached up there when he was coaching Ottawa, the junior A team, CCHL, and he kind of gave us a heads up about it, saying like, dude, it's one of the best showcases you're going to go to, like because of that reason, the atmosphere and all that stuff. And it ended up, like it didn't prepare me at all, right? I was like, okay, it's a cool showcase, whatever. But
yeah, what does that mean in today's day?
Yeah, exactly. So it felt like old school hockey, old school feel, and it was a newer facility, but they still brought that a little bit of throwback vibe to it. They had the committee that runs the tournament, and they were all bought into all the people getting into it, things that were happening, which was awesome. So it was a great way. Like that was our last weekend playing for both our teams, and it was great. Our two teams played each other for one of the games too, and it was an awesome way to wrap up the weekend. But just for people that don't know about it and are interested in maybe going to it, it's not the best hockey.
It's not the
tournament.
Toronto Marley tournament.
No. But just in terms of an
OHL
experience,
Cup, it's a good tournament.
Yeah, just in terms of the experience, it's an awesome thing to go to. And there were still we had a bunch of junior A scouts there that pulled some of our guys out to talk to them too, that were scouting the tournament. So there were still people there watching. So it wasn't like it was just for fun or anything.
Yeah.
But
it's hockey, man. Like, so really, it's funny that when you went to that tournament, so like that, I know that tournament, not because I went to it, but it's one of the tournaments that when I was growing up, that the team 2 years older than me went to that tournament, and the team before that. So I heard about the tournament, and everybody said it was amazing. So maybe even before I moved up to the major midgets, whatever.
This was when you were a kid?
Dude, it was famous back then. I don't remember it being called the Leo Boivin, but it probably was. But the boys used to call it the Prescott tournament. And they have, honest to God, just like you're saying, they used to say the best tournament ever. And it was at the same end of the year, so that's probably why our team didn't go. We were doing other things, And but I heard not the same stories, but how awesome of a tournament was, and the kids would come back and say it was the best ever. So, which is cool. Another tournament that was like that, not the same thing, but in Hull, Quebec, when I was in minor, no, I skipped a year, so it was major, midget, whatever, midget year, and this Hull tournament was the same thing. It wasn't like the same fun stuff, like it was a bigger tournament, but I forget what rinks, the rink we played. It was a big rink, like the Hull Olympics were played there, and like the games in the afternoon because people worked would be like, but there's people there. There's people there, and then at night you go to you see if you played at 7-8 o'clock at night, like basically sold out. Hard to find a seat. Like for a kid, that's like wow, it's amazing. So those tournaments are unbelievable. But the Prescott tournament, I heard it's great, and what just it reminds me of. I don't know if it reminds me or if it brings back what my feelings of hockey. That's so
100%,
if you could,
man.
yeah. So
100%.
as you're describing that, and you're describing how the kids had a blast, the fans, if you want to call them fans, were in it. The community was in it. They made it hockey, but it was something else. Honestly, that's how I feel I grew up. I'm being honest, like because I look at the tournaments now, and when I coached and stuff, my son's tournaments, I'm like, it's a hockey tournament. It's you could see the corporate side of it, where someone's running a tournament to make a bunch of money. It's like get on the ice, get off. Here's your player of the game award. No, they don't even give it to you. Like it's everything's in and out, and let's clean this shit up real fast and capitalizing on money. Whereas when I played hockey as a kid, it was so much more like an experience. I remember playing in. I think I've said this on a podcast before. One of my favorite tournaments ever was it was called the Bon Sioux tournament. So it was like a winter festival in Sault Ste. Marie, and every year we went there. The Sioux Pee Wee tournament. And they played at when I was up in the Sioux last year in playoffs. I said to my wife, I said I want to go and just see this rink. That's how much it meant to me. Like easy, man. But I love it. So I want to see this rink because my memories of that rink were so awesome as a kid. And this is why I loved hockey so much. So we would play in this Sioux tournament. It was called the Sioux Pee Wee Arena. And I went in there and I told my wife, they said, did only a couple little things. I said, but man, wow, is this giving me good memories. So when we would play in this tournament, it would be up to Pee Wee, obviously. So Adam and Pee Wee. And the games there was no curfew on the games. It was, you would play 3 periods. Every second period, they would flood the ice. So you might start the game with a fresh one so which is cool. But there was no ties. You would play till a winner. So you would play in overtime, and then it would go 5 on 5, take a guy off after X amount of minutes, 4 on 4, 3 on 3, 2 on 2, 1 on 1 until someone scored. And it was awesome. So and I loved it. So you'd get there at the rink, say you played at 1 o'clock. So you'd get there at 12. And I always was an early guy, so I'd be like earlier. And I'd stand there and there'd be games and the lobby would be packed. There'd be tons of people watching every game. Players that are playing next would be along the boards. So it was like just a packed house. And you get to watch other players play all the time. But if you played at 1, you were probably playing at 2:30 or 3. So everything was pushed back because of the overtimes and stuff. Dude, it's the best experience. And when you guys were explaining that to the kids and the way the kids were talking about it, it's like I would love players to be able to experience those old school tournaments where it wasn't just about, fundraising for your organization and like actually having a tournament. It sounds like the Prescott Leo Boivin Tournament was exactly like that. It was about the experience and it's a culture almost, right?
For sure. And I've no issue with, because a lot of these tournaments they try to make some money on it 100%. And like, I don't like, this is the other thing too, is we talk a lot about people trying to make money and all this shit. And I don't necessarily have a problem with people trying to make some money, right? Like if that's the business you chose to go into, whatever, it's fine. But what I like about these guys is that they try to make it an experience. So all the details were there. So they had like the 3 stars of the game. They had, if anytime you got a hat trick, they had a trophy. If you got a hat trick in a game, they had the tournament MVPs. They had the most valuable player of the final game. And then they had the old school huge trophies that you got, which you returned, but then they gave us a trophy to take home. And like every game was just like that. And so they really try to make the details of it like super, super dialed in. There was also only one rink. which was awesome. So everybody was watching this game.
That's the thing.
Right?
That's
everybody
the thing.
was watching this game only. They weren't jumping over to this game and that game. So that was really cool because most of the rinks you go to now, it's 2 to 4 pads and everybody's kind of buzzing around
all
everywhere.
over the place.
So it was from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. game on the same
That's
pad,
awesome.
which was great.
That's awesome.
And then they also had a helper guy. So they would assign a little kid to each team.
Bringing
to help them
oranges
with,
and stuff.
Fill the bottles, go to the bench, like all that stuff. So
think of the amount of people it takes to run that thing.
No kidding.
Incredible.
Well, and that's why it's like, hey man, make as much money as you can because you ran an awesome tournament and the kids are going to talk about that tournament for the rest of their life, man. And it really, exactly to your point, it brought me back to the enjoyment of the game. You know, it just wasn't that serious. It was fun.
Yeah.
You know?
So like, I can guarantee you haven't, you can't experience what I experienced as a kid. And that's what hockey was. That's why I loved hockey so much. Like, it seemed like that's what it was. Like what you were explaining today, and it's not bad. It's good. We've advanced as hockey players and stuff. But you know, when I talk to my son about tournaments, and I'd go to tournaments, I go, "There's like, it's not the same." And I think it comes back down to, and it's never going to go back, I don't think. But it's okay. You know, some people went to work on a horse and buggy. Yeah. Now you take a car. I mean, you're not better off taking a horse and buggy. Yeah. Shit evolves, right? But like, that's what I loved about hockey so much. It was like, it used to be more, less rules as far as like, think about junior hockey here in Canada now, right? Or at least in Ontario. Well, you can't. So in Ontario, if you're a really good player and you're 15 years old, you're not allowed to play junior B because you're too young.
Yeah, right.
But what if you're good enough? So there's those rules. They've got the import rules or whatever, that's fine. But they have all these different rules to make sure everything's good and fair. And it's like, it's so AAA, like AAA is AAA, but it's driven in such a different manner now. Like, so back in, like, I mean, Jesus was a cowboy, so like it's different, right? But like, before you played hockey, that's, you know, if you came from even Windsor, right? If you lived in the county, you didn't get to play for Windsor. Like, so you had the Windsor AAA team, I believe. I wasn't from here, so, but then you had all the county boys that were really good hockey players. Where did they play? Well, they played in the county and they played out of town. So tournaments were not, you know, with the rankings and this shit and all this shit. You went and played hockey and it was just like lots of fun. And that's how I remember hockey. And that's why my memories of hockey are so much different than you guys coming through. The amount of fun that we had was fun, man. It was fun. It was, yes, you wanted to win tournaments and we did. And you still played, I mean, not still, you played great hockey teams, but it wasn't so, I don't even know, what's the word? Corporate? No.
For me,
so serious.
It's just like, it's very business.
Yeah.
Like
we forget that kids are kids and like, and that's the other thing. I'm just, as you're talking about that tournament, I sit there and I go, that's what I mean by hockey. You're out there having a blast. The good players are going to be the good players. It's all good, man. Let's not freak out. The great players will be great. The other ones will maybe be some late bloomers and stuff, but that's what enjoying hockey is, man. That atmosphere. So
like the thing that really stood out to me was our parent group. So because we took the bus and like some of the parents came with us on the bus. So we maybe had like a group of 10 parents or something that were with us. And everyone knew going into it that it wasn't we weren't playing the strongest teams ever, right? So there was a couple teams that were good. The rest of them were not so good. And so we knew to expect that. Right. So, but then what happened was, which was interesting, is it took away the serious. And the parents were like up in the crowd. They were up in the row, like having fun, like watching their kids play. Like the kids played well. They had fun. They were scoring goals and getting into it with the crowd and all this stuff. And all the parents really just enjoyed being there. And it wasn't so much about, well, like, what are the scouts going to see my kid? Is the junior team that I want to play for next year here? Like, what do I do about camps? What do I do? Like, none of that was there for the whole weekend. It was just, we're here to enjoy the game. And then while that happened, I still had like two or three of the games where some of the junior A teams out there were pulling our guys out of the dressing room to talk to them.
Goes to the point. It doesn't matter where you play. Someone's always watching. Always. And it was just so nice and interesting to see that
mindset of it, that business mindset of, how to push my kid forward on the parent end taken away. And from the tournament style of it being like get in, get out. It was okay. We could linger. We could hang out. We could be early. Yeah. Right. And so it was just awesome, man, to be around it. And that was why I liked it so much, is I was in there like, I would have loved to play in this. And it reminded me when I played in Elmira, small town, same thing. The rink kind of reminded me of the same rink. And it was like all of the Mennonite community was there. And there was just like a bunch, seriously. And it was like a bunch of people that don't really know a ton about hockey, but they just rally around the community event. It's just a community thing, And so we'd play every night. We played there as a packed house. And so it was bringing me back there and how fun it was playing in that city. And then it was the same thing when I played in Chatham, right? The Chatham Memorial ship barn, like, and packed with just local people. That's
the
what
atmosphere,
they do,
man. It's
right?
the best.
So it was awesome.
Like you could go even in the OHL, right? Like if you go with, you have London, Guelph, Oshawa, Windsor. Like these barns are really nice. They're really nice. And then you go to Owen Sound, and it's like you could say it's shit, but it's actually not. It's just older, smaller, more condensed, and what a great atmosphere. Like it feels more like hockey. Because I get bothered when I go to games. Like I have a really hard time going to NHL games. Because
so nice.
Well, no, it's so nice,
just
and
over
it's
the top.
and it's more quiet, and you have that jumbotron that you can't make them any bigger. So you have something constantly going there. So it's actually harder to watch a game without looking at the jumbotron or the dink selling pizzas here or the TV guy here, and you got all this shit floating around, and it's like you're so distracted you don't get to really actually see hockey. It's an entertainment thing, right? But I wanted to say one thing I want to go back to what you said about, or what we said about, there were still scouts there asking about some of the players to play or get invited to the junior teams. We had a thing this week or last week where we did some interviews with parents about them deciding to come to our academy. And I'm not saying come to our academy because it's the best thing in the whole world. I think it is, but that's for me. Like certain parts I think is for sure. And when parents are watching or deciding for their kid, I say this so many times, like it won't matter as long as your kid's a good player. Like if you're worried about moving on and getting drafted and stuff, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So we had a couple parents say, okay, but the only thing we're kind of worried about with your program is like, it's still kind of new. And we don't know if it's going to be the best development place for our kid. And, how is the team going to be? It's fair questions. I'm not saying, are you an idiot for raising a question that goes anything against us? That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like, that's the concern that people have. And this won't even resonate with most of them because they think their kid's different most of the times. That's not a negative statement, by the way. But we look at our program and we're first year. Were we the best team in Ontario? Like, no, not at all. But we had a competitive enough team, like enough. But it was so. But we did have a player on our team that was drafted to the Peterborough Petes. And when his development plan this year was to come and play for BioSteel, they didn't say to him, no, that's a new team. That's you can't play there because it's not a good team. They said, okay, play for BioSteel. So he played for BioSteel. And he got called up at the end of the year. He played a game or two. So he's still on the radar regardless of where he played. He didn't come down and play for the AAA whatever team or look for the best team. And that's what I'm encouraging with parents. Like, honestly, I get we get a lot of pushback on this because people really do believe that they got to play on the best team with the best players, the best program and stuff. And fine, that's fine. But I'm reassuring anybody that is not in a situation where they can make a decision like that. Like, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, what the Peterborough Petes would have said to that kid or as an organization is he's a good hockey player that can skate, he's fast as hell. And, there's something there that we like. We drafted him in a mid-round pick, like pretty good. He's going to be fine because they already know. They don't sit there and worry about every time he steps on the ice, he better do this, this, and that like a mom and dad does, right? Including me as a dad, right? Like, I'm being honest. And then mid-season, they've seen him and they said, yeah, you can come up because you haven't lost a step. and he went and I guess he played pretty good. Didn't get a ton of ice, but he played and he played pretty good. Had a good shot on net or a good scoring chance. They liked him, and he's coming back, and everything's fine. So he didn't have to have a development plan off the charts, because you know what, guys? Most people don't have a development plan. They're playing hockey, and all the fluffy names and the tournaments, like we just said, and all this stuff, it actually doesn't matter. And as a parent, this is something I would say to most parents too. Like I said, I tell the truth on this about my feelings about hockey and my kid and me and scouting and stuff. The first 2 years with my son in the OHL was like not so much about, of course I wanted everybody to be able to notice him, right? Like obviously make a name for yourself. But like his draft year, it was, I would say that like I put a little pressure on myself to watch my kid develop. Like if he didn't have his best game, I'd be like, man, like in my head.
You're talking about his NHL draft year? Or
his NHL draft year. I'd be like if he didn't have his best game, or if he wasn't getting on the ice as much as he should have, or stuff, like I'd get in my own head like and say, like, you're not helping him. Like as a dad, I'm saying as a dad, just sitting there like, how are you helping him here? But anyways, what I'm saying is, in his NHL draft year, I was like sitting there going, uptight just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. You could pull a pin out of my ass with a tow truck, but barely, right? Barely. I was a little uptight, like because you worry for your kid. That's what you want for your kid. But you know what? This year, just watch.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Whether the scout from New Jersey says he really he had all these interviews and like, we really like you, you're this, you're that. It doesn't matter, because that guy's not picking them anyways. There's a list. It doesn't matter. And a good friend of mine had talked to my son the other day, and Sean O'Donnell, he played in the NHL forever. So he called me, he met me in London, and we were talking, and he was asking, whatever, and he came and saw Charlie after. He just took Charlie. He's a big boy, eh? Charlie goes, he's been punched in the face a few times, eh, Dad? Oh, yeah. So he put his big paws on Charlie. He grabbed him by the shoulder, and he goes, you know what, Charlie? It was good to meet you today. Loved watching you play. He's with LA. And he goes, I just want you to remember one thing. He goes, doesn't matter who's drafted, who's not. All the shit that happens, he goes, what'll happen? Hands on his shoulders. The cream always rises to the top. And you know what? That sounds like a cliche, but it's so true. All the shit, if you're good enough, whether mom and dad do the right things, say the right things, feel the right way, the coach likes you, coach loves you, hates you. If you're good enough, cream always rises to the top. And it's just the truth. Maybe it doesn't rise up to the top like that. It might take a few beats or a few years or whatever, but the cream always rises to the top, and it's 100% true.
Yeah.
So relax.
Yeah, that leads perfect into, I want to talk about the OHL Cup and the draft coming up and stuff a little bit, because this is an example that I gave. It'll lead right into the OHL Cup thing that's going on right now. But one of the examples that I give to a lot of the kids that are getting towards that draft year age, the OHL draft, a lot of them are really concerned about that, like playing on a really good team so that they can go to the OHL Cup, for example, and then they get seen more and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it doesn't help, like, because it can help to be there and whatever. But the example that I gave them, which was recent, is I remember our 2007 born Windsor and Sun County teams played in the first round of the Alliance playoffs a few years ago. And I remember because I went and watched some of the games, and the winner of that series got to go to the OHL Cup, and the loser did not. And Sun County ended up winning the series and went on. This was Arky's team, right? So Arky's team got to go to the OHL Cup. Cam ended up getting drafted to Kitchener. I don't remember who else from that team would have got drafted.
Hickson.
Yeah, Hickson, who was good, to London. Yeah. Any other 07s on that team?
Wraith was on Windsor.
Yeah, he was Windsor.
Probably not.
So let's say, even if there was one I'm not remembering right now, let's say there was 3. Okay, they went to the OHL Cup. They were there. So they played their round robin 4 games, whatever. I don't think they ended up moving on. But regardless, so they went there. The 07 Windsor team did not. So their season was done. So all the scouts are at OHL Cup and not watching the Windsor team. Windsor had 3 kids drafted that year. The 2007 Windsor team. They didn't go to the OHL Cup. It was Smith, Jones, Geniac off that 07 team. Okay. I think Sun County, they might have had 2
or 3,
right?
Yeah, I think they had less.
Arky and Hickson. Oh, Jovo. Jovo, right? So let's say it's 3. Maybe there's a 4th I'm forgetting. It was the same, is my point, right? So these guys got to go to OHL Cup. Their team was both teams were okay. Like neither of them were great, but the one got to go to OHL Cup and the one didn't. Did it end up really mattering? Not really, because the guys that probably should have got drafted off Windsor did, and the guys that probably should have got drafted off of Sun County did. You know, and so if there was a plus or minus that a kid would have gotten to the 12th to 15th round, or the kid that went in the 5th round would have went in the 4th round, like did it change it that much? And I think the answer is no. By the time the OHL Cup rolls around, like scouts have been around all year watching. Like they got a pretty good idea of who's where. You know, they've been at the big tournaments already. They've been so.
The thing when you get to the big tournaments like OHL, you get to the OHL semis and finals, you just get more eyes on you for a longer time, which could be good or bad. But it's not. I don't think if you have a good OHL Cup and you're like, let's say you're like a 3rd round pick ish, you're right in the top 90, top 100. You're top 100. Let's say top 100. You're rated somewhere between 50 and 100. I don't think having an OHL Cup, a good OHL Cup, like 1 week or 4 games or 5 games, is going to knock you down. Like, oh, he's now a first rounder. He's going to be maybe, you know what, I really liked him, and this tournament confirmed what I like about him. So if we have a spot in, maybe he moves up. You can, but it's not going to definitively move up. And the same as if you don't have your best OHL Cup, it's not going to move you from the 1st round or 2nd round down to the 9th. Like it's going to say, okay, it wasn't his best tournament, but you know what I mean?
And so that's kind of my point and why I like talking about it, because I hear with a lot of the parents now that I talk to, because I have so many of these conversations, and that is just kind of to your point. I'm not saying it's not a consideration either. Like I know you want to be on a good team, and it's fine to want to be on a good team. That's fine. But is it the best place to put your son? Is that team or program the best place to put your daughter? It's like them as an individual making decisions for them as an individual. And you know, I use this example all the time too. Like if you go to a top team and you're the bottom end guy, or you can go to not as good team but be the top guy, like which one's better? You know, like sometimes it might be one and sometimes it might be the other, right? So it's just so it can be very frustrating, and you know this way more than I do, just like hearing parents just like tell me or tell us how it works when they've never been out of minor hockey. Like they're in minor hockey, right? They don't have a kid that moved on. They've never experienced beyond minor hockey, and the level of certainty that I'll have these conversations. And it's so funny just listening to them tell me how it works, you know? And like, it's the same. You say this all the time, and you've been doing it for 25 years now, of like just hearing people tell you how the hockey world works. And it just seems like all we can do is continue to try to share the message of it just doesn't actually matter that much. You know, it just doesn't. And it can give you marginal gains or marginal decrements depending on what happens. But if your kid's good, they're good. If they're not good, they're not good. And like, that's the way it's going to be, you know? So when you make decisions on, you know, where you want to put them and what team you want to go to, what organization you want to go to, it really should be based on what is best for them as an individual, not just which is the best team.
Or work for your family.
Yeah. Like I had a parent explicitly say to me, like, I think I'm going to go to where the best team is, you know, and fair enough. But is that the best math to do in your head on making decisions for your kid? You know, just wherever the best thing is. Well, what if that place, what if your kid hates it?
Yeah. Just, there's so many variables to that. I always said this to people. I'm like, you don't want to be on a losing team. I know that. I get that. It sucks. Losing sucks. So I'm not saying go to a losing team, but you know what? I've said this a million times, is at some point in your life, like if you're a good hockey player, you're probably going to play for a team that is in a losing season. And for example, this year with my son's team, they just blew up the team to rebuild. And you know what? It sucks. It sucks. But the funny thing is there's kids on that team that come from programs that they didn't lose. They didn't know whether to shit or wind their watch when they were losing. But this is reality. You are going to lose. You're not always going to be on the first place team. You can't. So there is value. And I would never tell someone you got to go experience losing on purpose. But there's a lot of learning to do in not having success. And I'll tell you, man, I actually talked to the kids about this today, about losing, because it was a very emotional day from my perspective. I'm not saying I cried or anything like that, but I'm just looking. When I look at hockey and behaviors and stuff like that, I look at a whole lot of different things. So I was watching the season unfold, right? And we'll call it a losing season. The team started off young, but like a little history here. So I think the decision was made possibly last year that this is going to be a bad year, like actually deciding to be bad, because the decision was made to go young and rebuild, so that you're making a decision. And then funny with losing, the talk was kind of about losing for the whole year without saying we're going to lose. So we're going to be young. It's going to be tough. We're going to be in deep. The goal is to get into the playoffs. Well, that's not setting a bar real high. So to me, that talk permeates throughout the team right away. We're not talking about winning. We're talking about not being real bad. Do you know what I mean? And then as you play and you see injuries, like any, I'm not saying they weren't significant, but it was injury. Like every string of bad luck a team could get, they got. But so did the London Knights, had some bad luck, but they also had good luck, right? But I think that attitude going into it, your thought patterns and the losing versus winning mentality trickles. Whereas this team over here could lose some bodies and have some bad luck, but they always still find a way to win. Whereas here we're told, or the attitude is we're not going to be losing. You always find a way to lose. And you but we're going to be young, this, that. You're already making excuses. And then it permeates throughout the team. And then you'll start to see an injury is a perfect excuse for another loss. Another injury is a perfect one, right? So you have all these excuses building up. It's like, well, yeah, we're working hard, but this is happening. It happened to everyone else too. And then as it moves on, you could see a small percentage of players that really get it. That like, I'm a hockey player. This is a shit time. I'm gonna take this team, throw it on my back, or gonna do my job, do it to the best of my ability. You can see people so you got that group, and then you see another group where it's like, I'm happy to be here and playing in the OHL, right? Nothing really ever changed. Then you see others that, oh, this isn't good for me. So like the body language changes, there's more selfish play. And it's about me now, not the team. Like you can see all these different things in losing. So I'm not saying go out and lose, but at some point there's probably going to be that coming your way. So it's like, if you don't experience that when you're in Bantam, Pee-wee, midget, ever, then it's a different feel. So it's like understanding what losing is not the worst thing in the world, is what I'm saying. So if you happen to play on maybe got a good coach and maybe not the best team, whatever. But anyways, if you're on a winning team, good. If you're playing on a team that's not so good, it's not the end of the world, right? If you win a tournament, that's fine. If you don't, learn the right lessons along the way, if that makes sense.
Well, and this goes to, they had the draft lottery last night. And so some of these kids that come from, like, we got a kid that could be a top pick that's been on a team that's been good since he was a little kid. Like, never had a bad year. They were always really good. Well, guess what's going to happen?
That's exactly right.
He's going to say this all the time. He's going to get drafted to a team that is not good, right? So he is going to be part of the plan to make that team better. So if he's used to always being on a winning team, well, now we're going to see. Like, can he be a guy that jumps into a losing situation and manage that? And this is something that a lot of those top end kids that always played on the big Toronto teams that are always smacking everybody, like, they got to figure out how to deal with that. Can they deal with that? It's going to happen. So if you go to who's the first overall, Peterborough.
So Peterborough, right? Guelph, Sarnia, Ottawa.
Yeah. So if you go to Peterborough, who had a bad year, Guelph, Ottawa, one of these teams where they're trying to build back up and get out of the gutter, are you going to be able to deal with that as the guy that's supposed to be central to that plan? Or are you going to be like, well, I don't like this because I was winning all the time. I want to leave, And so that speaks directly to your point, is the day's going to come where they got to figure out how to be in that situation. So if you can at least be ready for that to some degree through minor hockey, and I'm not saying you have to lose necessarily. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that come off these Toronto teams that adapt fine and they end up being part of programs that can build out of that hole. But it is something that you want to be aware of when you're in that situation where it's always the best situation possible, and it will only get you so far. Like, there are so many guys, even that are high OHL picks, when you think you're at the pinnacle of your hockey and you're going to the NHL and all this stuff, that just fizzle out. Like, we had a guy locally that was a top pick several years ago, and just nothing happened, and people would probably not even know his name, and that's because when he got there, that wasn't the final step, man. Right? There was a lot of work still to be done.
You're talking about
so like top end guy, but couldn't make the next step. Like, he was at the beginning of the road. It wasn't the end. It wasn't the I've now achieved what I want to achieve. Like, there's still a lot that you need to learn and develop on. But I think when you're outside of that, you can see that does feel like your finish line. I can appreciate that parents and players think that. And just getting your name called in the OHL draft is like you're on your way to the NHL now. And it's a long
finish
road,
line
man.
for this. It's the start of great things to come. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So it does take that period to adapt. So the more situations and circumstances you can come across and preparing for that, just the better off you'll be. You'll have the better tool set to equip yourself to deal with those things. You know what I mean?
The kid that still in the OHL, that was a really, really high pick as well. Came from a program that basically didn't lose a game. Insulated with a lot of great players. A whole bunch of US NDPs and college and tons of OHL guys in it. And never materialized in the OHL either, right? And I'm like, I was shocked at how high he went, but I'm not surprised at the outcome of it because he's not really done anything. And it's like, yeah, he was insulated on that really good team. He was fake good. He was insulated with so many good players that if he was like, for example, if he grabbed the puck and just went down the ice, made a play, it would be covered because he had so many good players, right? You didn't see any mistakes in that. If he made a mistake, it would be they had a superior hockey team. So if you made a mistake, it would be rare. But if you did make a mistake, you could cover up for it, steal it back. It wasn't the consequences weren't so high. But he never learned how to truly win, truly compete. So if he had an off day, he had an off day. He still looked pretty good, right? Probably got 2-3 points anyways because you give it to this guy, whatever. So it was like fake. Skated well, looked good. The skill set was really, really high. The competition never really was, right? So skill level was really high. So you look at a kid on a really good team playing against an inferior team, and if he wants to, if they go for a little skate and do something a little bit fancy and it looks good, you go, wow, bring you out of your seat. Yes, but he's not playing equal. So, and I knew this about him. He wasn't going to rip someone's head off, and I knew that the way he was even brought up was going to be, he was babied, and if things didn't go his way, it was always someone else's fault. So when he was drafted, I said, okay, good. Like, he does have the skill for sure. But as soon as there is any confrontation or real grind, disappears. But he didn't learn that in youth hockey because he had 2, 3 years, 4 years, and he moved around. He had 3-4 years of bouncing around to the best team, the best players, and never had to. You got, without having the real battles, you don't really know what the type of player are, and that's why a lot of kids that are on really good teams, they don't necessarily succeed.
Mm-hmm. So maybe just like kind of to wrap up, obviously like OHL Cup's going on right now, the draft lottery is going on. Just maybe we talk about this a little bit every year, but with the draft, when is the draft?
April 11th.
April 11th. So coming up, just give the people some thoughts on just the draft in general. What does it mean? What does it not mean? Like, every year there's going to be kids that are devastated that think they should have been drafted. There's going to be kids that are super happy they got drafted. Just like some general comments about the draft, what it means and what it doesn't mean and whatever.
The draft is an awesome thing if you're drafted, and it really sucks if you don't, but it at both ends, it means not as much as you think it does. I think people going in, with a rare exception, if people are telling you are rated to be a top 3. Like if you're going in the second round, roughly, that's where you're rated. Don't bank on that. Expect to go later. That's a bonus if you do. Most of the times, the draft will shock you because you like obviously as players and parents, you don't know everybody out there. You haven't seen everybody, so they might take someone from Chicago. Well, I never heard of this guy. Well, yeah, you don't have to. But anyways, your expectations on the draft, it's great. Be happy if you're one of those kids that get drafted. Be really happy. It gets you in a system, gets you recognized, and it's great. It's just really the start. I'll tell you this, and if you're not drafted, it's the same thing. It's such a long road. I've seen back when I played, coached, and now watching all the guys I train go through this. I've seen very, very high draft picks turn out to be absolutely nothing. Like nothing at all in that league. And I've seen guys, free agents and late picks that have awesome careers and go play in the NHL. Everybody blooms at a different time. And a lot of the guys that you'll see go really early in the draft are kids that have early bloomers, or they're not behind anyways. I could say that. So there's a lot of time to catch up. Now, the thing is when you, what I would really say that's important is wherever you are, like following next year as you go play where you're playing, and concentrate on being the best person at that level, whether that's you are in the OHL or junior B, junior A, midget, U18, whatever it is. Just concentrate on being the best that you can be there to give just continue to improve. When you making the OHL at 16 years old does not make you an NHL hockey player by any means. And making it at 19 years old, like if you made it at 18 or 19 years old, doesn't mean that it's too late. It's like it's your time, and just you continue to work. That's the most important thing. And if you do end up going to a camp, whether you're a first round pick, a last round pick, an invite, truly, I've seen this every year now where someone makes it out of camp that wasn't supposed to be there. Pretty much every year. And that's what you just want to be, that guy. Like, it's possible. And really, once you're on a team, I like to say 100% it doesn't matter what round you're drafted. Sometimes it does. I'm just being honest. Sometimes there's a little bit of, people don't like to be wrong. And there is a little bit of a hierarchy. But at some point, if you outplay someone for a while, you get your shot, right? So if you are a first round pick, you're probably going to get some ice and you're going to get a little bit more leash than a guy that is a fifth rounder or a free agent. But over time, you can work, and that's the whole point of hockey, right? It's not about getting drafted early so that you get a long leash. It's earning. That's what I tell my son and any kid that comes in here and talks about hockey. It's like your expectations don't even have any. The only expectations of yourself, and it's that you are going to go there and learn everything that you can, and you're going to earn everything that you can. Because if you don't earn it, it's a different. But if you learn and you earn that extra shift. That's a big accomplishment. Earning it, not getting it, earning it. And then if you can earn another one in another day, and another week, and another, maybe you move up a line. That's how you become a player. You earn everything, man. But the draft is the draft. It's exciting. It's greatest day for some people, is the worst day of their lives for others. But it's only one day, and it's only one league, and it's only one period of time. So that's what I would say.
For sure, man. Awesome. I'm gonna put this toque on now to wrap up the show here.
Oh yeah, just like you did at the tourney.
I didn't get to at the tourney because I was trying to be a professional.
Pink on you.
Not bad.
I wouldn't say wear it.
Well, I'm never gonna wear it again, probably.
I wouldn't say wear a pink.
I would have, if I was a fan, I would have wore it. If I could blend in.
I don't know if I would wear that. I know I would, but I'm not encouraging you to wear pink.
I don't think I'm going to wear it ever again. But this is some showmanship.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're doing.
Showmanship.
I don't think you should be going out at night.
I won't. But you know what? If I was part of the riot crowd in the stands at this showcase, I'd wear it for sure. Our boys wear it.
You need a plaid jacket to go with that or something.
Perfect. It's perfect. Leo Boivin, shout out one more time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
U17 champs this year. I'm fired up and proud about it because it was a sick tournament.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Okay. See you guys.
Cool.